Okay, let's talk about the J30 Best Awards. And let me explain. Sean, you know about this too, obviously. But it's all about celebrating the best scenes, the best goals for the last 30 years, ever since the J.League kicked off in 1993. And it's decided by fans, by our supporters, by their votes. So it's not something that's been decided by, the J.League committee or anything, right?
Yeah. This was something, we were given something too, which we'll come on to soon. We were asked these questions, and it was really hard, wasn't it, to think of stuff. 30 years, so much has happened. When they were asking us these questions, best scene, these things that you think of, there's just so much stuff to recall. So getting these awards and getting the fans, because obviously different fans of different clubs remember different things, so getting them in there, compiling them all together, I think it gives you a picture of what the first 30 years of the J.League has really been like. We've got some fantastic goals, some fantastic scenes, some fantastic players here to introduce to everybody.
So without further ado, let's smack it open then. First of all, the best goals. So here we go, best volley, best overhead kicks. Going back to 1997.
Where's he going?
It's Mboma. Outrageous. This is a joke. Look at that for control.
Well, he's going away from goal, right? This touch, you think he's gone too far. And the control,
it's amazing.
Both feet off the ground.
You do that, it goes into row Z.
Might have go out of the stadium. Oh, I'd missed the ball. I'd missed the ball completely, let's be honest. And I can't dance like that either.
And a little bop to at the end. The best technical goal goes to, the magician. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom!
Now see, I like this goal, but the defenders need to have a word with themselves, don't they? Look how many there are around him. Am I being a bit harsh? It's quite a good goal,
it's incredible,
isn't it?
Incredible technique from Leonardo.
I mean, the first two touches I'm with. These, I don't know.
It's over here. It's over here that they need to get the body completely behind Leonardo, but they don't. But still, it's an awesome. It's just majestic.
Yeah. Oh, don't get me wrong. If I'd done that, I'd still be dining out on it.
Okay, best long ranger for Yokohama FC. Boom!
Yeah. But it's come from the ball's almost static too, right? It's not rolled into him. There's no power. He's had to generate everything. How far out is he? 40? 45 yards?
40 yards. Kuba. Tatsuhiko Kuba.
Yeah,
he had a demon of left foot. And you see Shinji
Ono looking up.
Shinji Ono. And yes, the performance. Here we go. Free kicks. We've seen him do this on the international level, but wow.
Yeah, Celtic fans in particular will certainly remember this man. And we could have picked, I think he scored the most free kicks in the J-League. I think there's him or Yasuhito Endo. I think Nakamura is just about ahead. You could have picked any number of his free kicks, but this one, no keeper is stopping that.
From Shunsuke Nakamura. And now, this, best header.
This one, I was here, I was in the stadium.
You were there in the stadium.
I was.
It's the drama, isn't it, too?
The absolute drama of it. They needed a goal to get into the playoff final. The goalkeeper came up and he did that. There was about a second or two after it went in where everyone just stopped because you feel like it can't be allowed, right? Like the goalkeeper, there must be something wrong with this. And then once you realise that it was a goal, both sets of players just, obviously the jubilant of the players in blue who lost, dropped to the floor, and the Monterio Yamagata in yellow, just delirious.
Wow.
Yamagishi again, what a way to leave your name in history.
So what about the best scene then? The best scene prize award goes to Stojkovic, the man himself, Dragan Stojkovic, dribbling and dancing in the rain.
Yeah, absolutely wonderful, wasn't it? This was one of those questions too where there's so many things to pick from when they asked us best scene. But I think this is a more than worthy winner. And obviously Dragan Stojkovic is a legend of world football. But again, speaking to the Nagoya Grampus fans ahead of the game on Sunday, asking them, who's your favourite player that you've seen play, and almost all of them were picking Pixie, as they call him, because not only was he such an important player for them, but then he came back as manager, won the league with them. Another guy who's really contributed. Obviously, there's Zico that was at Kashima, There's all these foreign players, Dunga at Jubilo Iwata as well, who came over in the early days and really contributed to help set the J-League on the path to where it is now. And Pixie, yeah, this scene is something else, isn't it?
And we've got to big up our man Endo Yato-san. Wow,
Yes.
he's been the MVP.
Yeah, he's got the most appearances. He's still playing
Yep.
for Jubilo Iwata in J2. Most appearances in the J-League, most appearances for the Japan national team. Such a good player, such a classy player. Always, even now, I think he's 42, 43. Just so calm on the ball, doesn't give it away, doesn't look flustered. Plays pretty much every game. He's been fantastic in terms of keeping himself in shape in that sense. And he's a lovely guy as well. When I first came here, he was like number 7 for Japan, and I was kind of intimidated. You'd see the mixed zones and stuff, and you know this guy, you've seen him on TV. He scored in the World Cup in 2010, and just completely unassuming. Got no ego about him, just seems like perfectly happy, always happy to talk about football, talk to all the journalists that are there, speak to the fans and everything. Like, really, really nice guy. And I think that maybe just enabled him to he's just focused on football, really loves playing. And yeah, you don't know when he's going to stop, like King Kazu. We could still be talking about him when we're doing the 40th anniversary celebrations. He's still going.
The intelligence that Endo kind of aspires with is just incredible, right? He's always in the right place, at the right time. He knows how to use his body, and you know, and he just sees these passes, and just like it's like the eye of the needle, you know, and just manages to do it time after time.
And we've come across all these different scenes. We saw the Pixie scene. With
Yes,
the
let's
lifting.
talk about the scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you got any? Are there any that you think that really stand out over the last
Well,
30 years?
Nakayama-san, Gon Nakayama, with those avalanche of hat-tricks. 4 hat-tricks in a row.
He got 4 in a row.
He got 4 hat-tricks in a row.
Not in one game. This
No.
is in 4 back-to-back games.
He got 4 hat-tricks in a row.
When was this?
This was back in 1998. He scored 5 against Cerezo. He scored 4 against Hiroshima, 4 against Fukuoka, and then 3 against Sapporo. What about you and your scenes?
Well, if you're talking about goals and forward scoring a lot, I think something that jumped out instantly to me was obviously Michael Olunga.
Oh, yes.
When he scored almost as many as Gon got in those 4 games in one game. What did he get? 8 in
8
one
goals
match?
against Kyoto.
And it was one of those days when I wasn't in the stadium, but you're keeping an eye on the scores coming in, like, you know, you used to back in England, you have the video printer coming up. Now you do it all online, you're watching the results, and the page refreshes every minute or two, and it just kept ticking up.
I know.
Each time it would just be another goal, and you're thinking, what's going on? And it just kept saying Olunga. And then Olunga. And you're thinking there must be some problem with the website or whatever, and then you're checking on Twitter, and everyone's just putting up clips, putting up videos of what's going on, putting up their reactions. And it was, just incredible. One of those players you see, and I think it's something else that's really important for the J-League now. In the early days, they would bring over famous players from abroad who they were on the downslope going towards the end of their career. And now the J-League is bringing over these players who are going up. Olunga has now gone over to Qatar, is doing very well there as well, winning the league there and things. They're bringing over players from Europe, from South America, from Africa, who come over and really add something different, not just by scoring 8 goals, but the players they're training with, playing against. It helps everyone to move up a level. Another very nice guy, always very unassuming.
Very down to earth.
But absolutely clinical. Just any kind of goal he could score. And I think, in that match he scored all of them. I think he might even have got a couple of assists as well. I forget the stats, but he may have contributed to like 10. I think it was 13. Was it 13-1? The final score?
It's something ridiculous like that.
Something that you get in kids' games usually. You don't see it at a professional level, but one of those where Kyoto Sanga, the opponent, just clearly just would not want to. I'm sure they didn't watch that video back. It was just the coach just said, right, that's gone.
And Sean, going back 30 years, so what do you reckon then? Looking back at the 30 years that we've had and looking towards the future too, what do you think that the J-League has achieved and what the J-League needs from now on?
Oh, I mean, this conversation, we could do a whole episode on. I think there's so much we could talk about.
So much.
When you talk about what it's achieved, I just think the fact that it's got to this stage in only 30 years, you know, it's gone so quickly. I came here in 2009, so I think that was about the 17th year of the J-League. So I came almost halfway through. To see that amount of time has gone again, and the J-League is just continuing to grow. It came from no professional football. The Japan national team had never been at the World Cup. and the J-League was launched in part to help the national team get stronger. And it's kind of done both. The J-League is now clearly the best league in Asia. You speak to anybody who comes here from other Asian countries, players, fans, coaches, they all say, yeah, obviously it is. The level on the pitch, the level off the pitch in terms of the atmosphere in stadiums, interaction with the fans, all of that stuff around match days. And obviously the national team has now got stronger. Players are coming up in the J-League, going to Europe and playing. And now they're coming back, you know, Yuto Nagatomo is back here, Shinji Kagawa is back here. And they're playing, and they're still good players, but they're not coming in and bossing things because the level on the pitch here is so high now.
Right.
You can't just come back and phone it in. These players need to still be at a high level. And I think that is what the J-League has done so well. And yeah, it's now on the path to keep growing. They're not, you know, in Japan, you know so well, they don't rest on their laurels here. They're constantly trying to work to improve, make things better, fine tune them. And I feel like, yeah, from now on, as well as looking back on 30 years, I think what's so exciting now is looking at what's going to come next and where the J-League can possibly go next, where Japanese players are going to go next. How about you? You've been here longer than I have and seen more of the J-League than I have.
Well, you know, in 1993, it was like total cultural history. We had players who played for these teams, but you wouldn't know about them unless you were like a really hardcore football fan. This is before the J-League started. And once the J-League started, it's like, I remember, I went to international school, right? But even, you know, English kids, we were about, how old were we? Like 8 or 9. We would have these misangas, these kind of little bracelets, yeah,
Right.
woven
Okay.
by like the fans and made by the fans. And there was all this kind of cultural boom that happened in 1993. I didn't expect it to kind of like continue and be still there with such a force. When I came back to Japan, when I was 18, which would be 2003, right after the World Cup.
Right.
You know, the passion has always been there, but now I think we're going into that next level of leading Asia. And the J-League is making a good example of being a fantastic league to other leagues, and especially in Southeast Asia too. There's, of course, improvements that have to be made in comparison with the big leagues out there in England or in Spain or Italy. There's always a question about the quality of refereeing. You know, of course, it's got a lot better and better and better, but the implementation of VAR and how much they get into it, and about the stadiums too. If you think about the stadiums, you know, great stadiums in Japan, but always the distance between the pitch itself and, you know, you don't get that kind of like real spice kind of like experience that you do in the UK. But there's some elements that the J-League, I think, could be the best in the world, you know. I mean, secure, safe, passion, if I'm putting it correctly. Anyway, J-League Monthly, it's great to see you, Sean, it's been great. And yeah, so much more for the J-League to come.
Absolutely, yeah. So much more for J-League Monthly, hopefully.
Yes.
From now on, we're back out in the field. We're going to be speaking to all kinds of people and hopefully, getting lots of interesting conversations, lots of interesting insights from behind the scenes.
Totally.
Yep.
And talking about insights, we would really appreciate it if our international J-League fans out there in the wilderness, or not in the wilderness, well, we probably know where you're from, actually.
Well, in the wilderness is fine too.
In the
wilderness, big cities, anywhere, as long as you've got an internet connection.
Yes. Give us your comments. What's been your best goal for the last 30 years? Your best scenes? You know, do you agree with us, or do you think we're just talking a whole bunch of garbage? Thank you so much for watching. We would like to say bye-bye by looking at this month's Super Play Best 5.
Absolutely.
Okay, so take care. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Harry. Great to be back with you.
Bye.